You need to surround yourself with people who complement you, not people who are like you. So if you have no idea of who you are, how do you then pick up the people that are going to complement you? You need to know the things that you're not good at so that you can bring people that can help you in those areas. So that's the first thing for me, that having a deeper understanding of yourself, self-awareness.
Welcome everybody. Thank you for dialing into my video series called The Legend Within. Today's guest is the corporate and human CEO and author of the book called Betting on the Darkie. Yes, that's Mteto Nyati. So Mteto joins me today, very similar background, where he grew up in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. He watched his mother's store where he developed a lot of learnings and skill sets that created a real knack for him wanting to develop, create, fix, and solution things. So much so that he went on to study mechanical engineering on the other side of the country in Natal. And then he started his professional career in Johannesburg, where he became the only Black engineer at his company at the time. And one of the pieces of advice that he got at the time was, don't mess up. And that foundation and that background really established a stellar career for him internationally, where he went on to work at the likes of IBM in France, became the president and managing director of Microsoft in South Africa, became the CEO of MTN, which is the equivalent of AT&T and Verizon in North America. Right now, he's currently the CEO of one of the most innovative companies called Altron. In addition to that, this is one of the things that inspired me the most. He published a lot of his personal learnings and professional learnings, philosophies and teachings around what made his career and personal life to where it is today in his book called Betting on the Darkie. And so recently I read that book and it really inspired me and it really touched me, which is one of the reasons I approached Mteto and I asked him to have this conversation with me over a video call to talk a little bit about the book, not to steal too much thunder, but to give some and provide some nuggets that you watching can take away with and learn from. This book has been a real hot topic in South Africa. It's been trending so much so that it actually got a forward from the former President Thabo Mbeki himself. Without further ado, with that introduction, Mteto, welcome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for those kind words, Rashan. When you approached me, and I was really, I felt it was pleased to be part of this platform of yours. I can see that we share something in common, which is really about impacting knowledge and helping others to be their best versions of themselves. So I could not agree to your invitation. Thank you for inviting me.
It's very kind and very humble of you to say. Thank you so much, Mteto. I want to jump into the book, right? First things first. Why the name Betting on the Darkie?
Yeah, that name is a lot of people were very uncomfortable about the title, starting with my publisher. My publisher really did not want to be associated with this name. The Darkie name in South Africa is an equivalent to nigger in the US, so people kind of like, why are you using this? One thing that I feel it is all of us, we need to start from. We need to start from understanding that in reality, we are living in a world where we may seek fairness, but the world is unfair. That's just how things are. You are born in circumstances. Some of us are born in great circumstances and conditions where we are set up to be successful, and others was born in situations where things are tough. Also, who you are, your race matters. If you are born as a Black person, there's very little that the world expects of you. There are none, or in fact negative expectations of you. You have not even done anything. Just by being there, there's this negative expectation of you. So those are the things that I feel we need to just accept. This is how things are. We may not like it, but that's just how things are. But start from there. And I'm saying when I'm saying we Black people, we need to embrace our Blackness. start by embracing our blackness, but also make sure that the things that we do, we start to work on the perceptions that people have when it comes to the race, which is the black race. You know, we need to demonstrate that we can have excellence when it comes to black people. We can have, you know, people who are grounded, governance, all of ethical people, hard workers. So that is the thing that it was a conscious decision on my part to try and associate the work that I've done and the number of great people that I know who are like me, embrace our blackness and demonstrate that, hey, there is this narrative that not many people are talking about when it comes to black people, you know. And so that's one part, embracing my identity. But the other part was to make sure that given the fact that we're coming from different backgrounds, we say that, I'm saying in the book that the key point that many people are looking for in this world, they're looking for opportunity. They are not looking for handouts. I'm saying give people opportunities. If you give people opportunities, great things can happen. And I demonstrate that through my life, you know, where, you know, many people bet on me. You know, they did things for me. They gave me opportunities. And I grabbed those opportunities and made something out of those opportunities. And I'm asking and I'm really appealing to people like what you are doing here. By just giving people knowledge through this platform, you are giving them an opportunity to make something out of their lives. That's precisely what I am pushing for with this book, betting on Black people, giving them opportunities so that they can contribute to make this society a better society.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. You know, one of the things you talk about quite a bit, which really touched me as well in the story, was your humble beginnings that you grew up with in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. And one of the things I'd like you to share is how do those humble beginnings shape you to becoming the leader that you are today? Because some of the things that I really see about you is that you touch every single human being the same way. You make an impact and communicate with everyone the same way. And so one of the things that I'd really like you to talk about is how is those humble beginnings, you know, working in the store, observing your mom in the store, shape you into the person you become today?
Yeah, no, yeah, I come from the Eastern Cape. That is a part of South Africa, and it is not the, you know, it's not an affluent area. It's a reality. There's a challenge. There are a lot of challenges in that province of South Africa, and I come from a family that is large. I refer to my family as complex, in the sense that you've got my mother who married my dad, and my dad already had 6 children. So when he got married to my mother, and then through that marriage, he ended up having another 4 children. So we are basically 12 of us at home. It's a large family. And I say it's a complex family because you've got 2 families that have been brought together, you know, and within that, I experienced in that family, to me, I experienced discrimination before I even stepped out into South Africa. I experienced discrimination within the family, whereby you know, some of my half brothers and half sisters were kind of like saying, you know, you're not part of us. you're not really one of us. You know, you and the rest of the other 3 children, you are not one of us. But how my parents helped us to deal with that, helped me in particular to deal with that, it shaped the way I looked at diversity. You know, they said to me, focus on the things that are common. You know, you're sharing a father, you're sharing a home. You know, there's so many things that are, you know, so common between you guys. Don't focus on the differences. Focus on the things that are common. And I took that. It was my way of dealing with. They helped me to deal with the complex things at a very young age. But now, when I look at the world that I'm living in, people are battling with this race thing, the identity issue, race, gender, geography, sexual orientation. The tools that I use in dealing with that, I go back to how I was brought up, how I was made to look at the things that bind us, that are common with all of us. So that's the first part for me, the diversity and inclusion thing. I got it from my home. I think the second part is working in that little trading shop that my mother felt that because we have such a large family, both of my parents were teachers, she decided to stop her teaching post. She cashed her pension, she used her pension to start a business. And that business helped all of us as the children of my father, helped all of us to attain degrees. You know, she changed the lives of all of us. Wow. The risk that she took, she transformed us from being just a low middle class family to, I would say, high middle class family. She transformed completely. We now have got 2 engineers in that family. We've got a lawyer in that family, physiotherapist, we've got a doctor in that family, we've got teachers. You know, that is through the work, that the risk that she took. You know, so that's another part, you know, the risk that she took, but being very deliberate and changing and transforming lives, not accepting your circumstances and saying, you know what, I can rise above my circumstances. But how she dealt with the people that were working with her in that shop, you know, how she consulted with them, collaborated with them to serve the customers, how she treated those people has always been the way that I look to. She was my role model. The way she treated her customers. So if you look back now, now I've been a CEO of a number of companies, but there are two things that are always there as strategic pillars on any intervention that I do. These pillars are always consistent. One, people. There will always be a strategic pillar around our employees. Whether I'm at Microsoft or MTN or my current company, Altron, there is a pillar. In Altron, we call it employee excellence. You know, trying to do whatever it takes to make sure that we deliver excellence for our employees, help them to be the best that they can be. At Microsoft, at MTN, it was really about engagement, engaging our employees so that they can feel like they are part of the company, right. Consulting with them, helping them shape the company. You know, so it's always there. There's always a pillar around employees. And then the other part that is always there is the focus on customers. Always there. Whichever company I go to, there's always a strategic pillar on serving those customers. So that I took it from those humble beginnings I come from. So that is what shaped me. That's what has made me the person that I am. You know.
Your mom sounds like a very powerful woman. I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. You know, one of the things you talked about there was your mom taking those risks, and some of the stories you shared in the book were around the risks you've taken. And one so much so is that you were offered a scholarship at Rhodes that would have allowed you to study mechanical engineering in Germany, but then you turned that down.
Yeah.
And so, like, what goes through your mind when you take a massive risk like that, and why?
Look, that was not a difficult decision for me. It happened at the time when I just completed my junior degree, mechanical engineering, at the University of Natal. And in my final year, the university came to me and said, "Hey, man, we have organized the scholarship for you. We're excited for you." But unfortunately, it was that time my mother was sick.
Okay.
Was very, very sick. And I looked at this thing, I'll be gone for 3-4 years, and that will take me away from my family, and I do not understand what's the situation with my mother, and I'll probably regret it all of my life that I was not there when she needed me the most. And somebody that has shaped me to be the person that I was. I felt that she has given me the foundation to be whoever I want to be in life. So that was the least that I can do, is to be there for her when she needed me. I was her firstborn, you know. So I felt I needed to be around. It was difficult in the sense that it was a great opportunity, but when I looked at what I was giving that for, I was giving that for my mother, for my family, and for me, it's not, it was not even, you know, a decision that one. I decided to be with her. And the good thing is that her health situation turned around, and I was able she was able to be with us for another 10 or so years, which was great. But I would really have felt bad had I gone, grabbed the opportunity, but she's gone, and how I had not shown how much I felt that she has changed and contributed to my life.
That's very inspirational, Mteto. That really is. That's good on you for doing that. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, it turns out, you know, further down in your chapter, just, you know, seeing the characteristics and the person that you are just like demonstrated one of the topics you called out in the book also, where you've moved on in the corporate ladder and some of your execs and your leaders handpicked you for programs at Yale University in North America. And it's like so inspirational around, you know, how you take risks and you still continue to move forward, do the right thing for your family, build your brand, build your character, become established for you to be handpicked for some of those moments that don't really occur that very often. And so how do you set yourself up to be established and recognized for executives to handpick you and say to you, this is the program that we want to send you on?
You know, I don't necessarily look and aim for any program. What I try to do is, Rishan, is to be of service. You know, I try to understand what are some of the challenges of the people that I work for. I tend to be attracted, because maybe I'm an engineer, I tend to be attracted to problems. You know, where there are problems, that's where I would like to be. And it's even worse when there are more difficult problems. I know that there's going to be less competition there. So I kind of volunteer myself for those problems. But I like to take that. And the good thing is nobody else wants those problems. So I tend to look at what is it that, you know, my boss, what are some of the things that is battling with, and how can I be of service to him? You know, the people that are working for me, you know, I look at that and say, all right, you know, I think I know for sure my job is that one of serving them, of helping unlock the things that are blocking them from doing their jobs the best way that they can. So that's how I look at myself, and the more I do that, and I think that helps, because somehow the people that I'm serving, they notice, you know, so, you know what, here, this guy has helped me this way, and now I am this because of this, you know. So, but I don't start by requesting. I start by seeing how I can be of use to these people. And that seems to, you know, again, there are not many people that are occupying that space. And many people are looking for things to be done for them versus to do things for others. So just by a different orientation, you end up setting yourself apart from others. You know? And that has helped me. And the good thing, that approach as well, is not limited to country. So I may be running a business of Microsoft here in South Africa, but I may help, you know, a leader of Microsoft may be based in Europe, and they may be battling, one of their countries elsewhere is not performing well. If I can come with results that help him or her to make up for the poor performance of another country, that is the help, you know, and that people will never not forget, you know. So that's the kind of thing that I look at and say, okay, how can I help here? How can we make sure that as a team, and my team is not limited to the one that I'm managing. I'm part of a bigger team of Microsoft if I'm working for Microsoft. How do I help contribute to this region so that it can, and that people don't forget about that, and they don't forget if you are dependable, know that when I've got a problem, I can count on Mteto. That's where you want to be, and that's where things start to come to you instead of you requesting things for yourself.
I love that. It ties into you doing this now as well, right? With us being in totally different time zones and different parts of the world, you just sharing that with us. And one of the things that I really get asked a lot, as I mentioned, I'm talking to you, is what advice would you give like up and coming leaders today? Because you did share a lot. You've shared a lot about your principles, your philosophies, and your strategy, and pretty much you're wanting to serve others as a part of your DNA as well, right? But what do you say to the up and coming leaders today? And like people that want to hone in on their craft and just grow and become impactful leaders and be effective to human society, what would be your advice to them?
Yeah, Rishan, I would say maybe three things that I would advise them to look at. The first one would be what I would call self-awareness. It's that ability to know who you are, the things that you are good at, and the things that you are not so good at. What are the things that Mteto is strong at? And what are those things that maybe people feel, what he needs to improve in this thing? You need to know that. You need to, otherwise, how else, if now you are a leader and you are busy putting together a team around you, regardless, you may not be a CEO, you may be a leader of a department. You need to surround yourself with people who complement you, not people who are like you. So if you have no idea of who you are, how do you then pick up the people that are going to complement you? You need to know the things that you're not good at so that you can bring people that can help you in those areas. So that's the first thing for me, that having a deeper understanding of yourself, self-awareness. And how, when you show up, how do people feel? Are they excited that this guy was going to be showing up now, or it's like they would like to leave immediately? And why do they want to leave? And deal with that. Deal with those issues. You ask, maybe put differently, you also have to ask yourself the question, knowing all that you know about yourself, would you hire you? Would you hire you? Would you have got all of this and you are there, you are trying to choose the people that would you go for you, or you do say, I will not hire that one, I'm going to hire other people. Or put differently, would you work for you? Knowing all that you know, what kind of an environment, how is it like under you? How is it like? Are people empowered under you? If you cannot work for yourself, what is it that you need to change in order for people to be attracted to want to come and work for you? That's what I mean by self-awareness, a deeper understanding of you, and then working on those things that you feel you need to improve on. So that's the first part. I think the second part for me is understanding your own values. Yes, we are, you were born in Phoenix, you grew up in Phoenix. Phoenix and your family kind of shape some of your values, right? So you grew up with these values. You are interacting with me now. Largely, most of those values, for some people, is the values that they grew up with. I ask the question, just like we go and buy smartphones. A smartphone, you switch it on, and you find that it's set up in a different time zone. For it to work for you, you need to change the default setting so that it can work for you. I see your environment where you grow up as those default settings. But later on in life, you may find that the values that shaped you when you were young may no longer serve you now. But have you taken the stock to understand what are my values? Are these values helping me to be able to get to where I need to get? If not, I should change them. I cannot just continue to have a setting that is, I'm sitting in a different time zone. That time zone is going to work for me. I need to make sure that it is this time zone. It's a relevant one. So I took maybe 10, 15 years ago, I took stock of my own values and I said, okay, these are the values. So I've got just four. The first one is excellence. Of course, behind each value, there are many other things like hard work, there's all sorts of things, but excellence is the value. The other one is fairness. When you think about diversity, it would be part of the fairness thing. You find that my team largely is a team that is usually composed of not just one race or one gender or one, it's just, a team that is diverse team.
Right.
It's linked to that thing. Then there's integrity. Integrity is the third value that I have. The other one is family. And this one helps me a lot in terms of the work and life balance, if there is ever any such a thing. It helps me to make decisions. Be very clear, draw the line. At 6 o'clock in the evening, when we used to go to work, we now no longer go to work. When we used to go to work, you know that at 6 o'clock in the evening, I go home. Because I'm a morning person.
Right.
I go home at 6 o'clock in the evening, and people, how can the CEO be leaving at 6 o'clock? I don't care. I don't care what you think, but at 6 o'clock because I need to have dinner with my family, because otherwise, when will I ever have time with my family? So as a CEO, I'm also being asked to do dinners with customers. My team knows that there's no dinner with Mteto and customer. I draw the line, but I can do breakfast with the customer. No problem. I can do lunch with the customer, but please don't come to me and ask me. So it's that thing. Where does it come from? Being very clear about my family. Family as being one of the values that I've chosen. So the question is, what are your values? As a leader that's growing up, you need to be clear about the values that you have. So those would be. So the second one would be values. The third one is being clear about embracing your identity. You in South Africa would call you an Indian. You are an Indian person. Who you are, be comfortable with who you are, embracing, because who you are, your soul chose who you are. Right. You chose it out of all other possibilities. You chose your body, you chose everything. Embrace that. There's a reason why you chose you. Be comfortable and go with that, And when you are connecting with people, you are coming from a strong position of being comfortable with yourself and bringing that to the table, because that's what the world needs, that diversity. And if you do not embrace who you are, the world is losing something because you are not offering who you are. So those will be the three things: embrace your identity, self-awareness, and then the values. Just looking at, to me, those are the kind of foundation that you need to have before you start to think about any other things. I know I've taken a long time.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's really structured, deep, and easy absorbable. So I appreciate you sharing that. And one of the things that you mentioned in there was you're a morning person. And I'd love to just understand, what is your morning routine?
It's I go and before I exercise, I just go and take up my phone. In there I've marked certain things. There are certain things that I'm tracking. I get updates on. So I read certain passages, things that inspire me, keep me to be positive. Not so much about the news, but spiritual related things. Things that and out of those whatever I've read, I then take out. It could be a quote, it could be anything, I then take out and then share it broadly in the platforms
Right.
that I have, whether it is LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, and interestingly, I mean, I used to just do this as just something that I do, but there's people who continuously are expecting each and every morning they wake up, they go and look at what is the goat that he has there. These are not necessarily my goats, but these are things that I feel can shape and help people as we deal with this life that is quite complex. There are things that it's like principles, sharing principles with people, actually giving them the tools to be able to live a meaningful life, to address the challenges that they're facing. So that's what that whole thing is. Then I exercise and then come back, then do my own breakfast. I don't want to wake my family, and off to work. So that's the kind of thing that I do.
Must be easier to manage being virtual now, being at home, right?
Yes. Much easier. I wake up much later. As much as I wake up at the same time, but I don't have to kind of wake up and be thinking about the traffic. It's going to take me another hour and a half to drive. No problem about traffic.
Mteto, what is it that you want to be known for?
Yeah, what do I want to be known for? I would say, Rishan, for me, I looked at this whole purpose thing and mission, and I've been working on this thing, and I know it's not perfect, but it's something that is it's like my North Star thing. It's something that is shaping me. All of the actions that I do, you can connect them back to this thing that I think I am here for. I think I am here in this life to kind of like wake people up a little bit, awaken the giant that is within all of us. Many of us see, Obama's, this guy, and all of these big people as how, but we don't know that there are many. We have the Obamas within ourselves.
Right.
We have the Gandhis within ourselves.
Right.
And how do I connect with my Gandhi? How do I connect with my Mandela, who is not the Mandela, because each and every one of us have got this greatness. And the more we can connect with that greatness, the more we can offer the world who we are, instead of trying to imitate and try to be other people. So it is that thing that I do every day when I go and take on some of these assignments that I take, taking a business that is underperforming, and turning those businesses around. It's not so much that Mteto is this, is this great guy, this great strategist. What you'll find is actually the same people. I've not changed people at all, maybe just a little bit at the top, but it's the same people that used to be classified as underperformers. Then a few years later, these are now the same people are seen as high performers.
Right.
Yeah. So you have found a way to unlock the things, make them to believe into themselves, stretch them, kind of awaken this giant that is within each and every one of them. And that is what I do. And that's what I would like to, that's what I think my mission here in life is. Whether that's why it's so easy for me to accept an invitation like this one, because it is part and parcel of my mission. I see it as my mission. So that's what I do. Whether I want to be remembered for that, I don't know. What I just want, I want to live my purpose. That's all. And that's what I think my purpose in life is.
You inspire me. That's moving. Thank you very much for sharing that. How can people find you, Mteto?
How can they find me? I'm on LinkedIn. I'm currently the CEO of Altron, And so if you just search under Altron, you'll find me there. Or on Twitter. I'm on Twitter as Mteto N. The handle is Mteto N. You can find me there. Yeah, so those are the two, I would say, key platforms where you can find me.
Thank you so much for doing this. You know, I've got massive respect and admiration for everything you've done and everything you've shared. You know, with the impact you're making to just other human beings is just extremely, extremely admirable. And it's encouraging to see all the stuff you're putting out there. So thank you so much for doing this. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you doing this and taking the time to share this with the world.
No, fantastic. I also appreciate you giving me the opportunity to connect with your network, and I have no doubt that your impact is going to be even more. You know, continue to do what you are doing. We, you know, think there's an alignment in terms of why we are here in this life. What you are doing is so closely related to what I'm trying to do. So continue doing that.
Thank you very much, Mteto. That means a lot. Thank you.
You take care.
Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. One of the things we're doing is we're going to give away 50 books to people that really want to learn and get more information around the stories that Mteto shared. All you have to do is just send me an inbox with your email address and your shipping address, and we'll send the book off to you. No hashtag required, no sharing of the video required. If you'd like to do that, that's great too. But we're just looking to help and encourage and share the information that Mteto and I talked about today. So once again, feel free to just inbox me your email address and your shipping details, and we'll get you a copy of the book. Thank you very much.